Today's lesson will be multiplying rational numbers, but mainly we're going to be multiplying fractions. So, how do we multiply fractions? Two easy steps. Number 1, multiply the numerators. Step 2, multiply the denominators. That easy. This is a main point which needs to be written down. So, let's look at what we have below. We have 3/4 times 1/2. So let's do step 1. Multiply the numerators. By numerators, I mean multiply the numbers that are on the top. So what is 3 times 1? That is 3. Step 2, multiply the denominators. 4 times 2. That is 8. So 3/4 times 1/2 is equal to 3/8. It's that easy. So I'm going to do the one on the left first, and then you are going to attempt the one on the right. So remember, when you're multiplying fractions, multiply the numerators, then multiply the denominators. So we have 1/6 times 2/3. Multiply straight across. 1 times 2 is equal to 2. 6 times 3 is equal to 18. But first off, is this in simplest terms? It's not. It can be reduced down. Both can be divided by 2. The numerator can be divided by 2. The denominator can be divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So our final answer that we have is 1/9. So 1/6 times 2/3 is equal to 1/9. So pause the video and try the 1/2 times 4/10 by yourself, and then unpause the video to see what I've done. Alright, so remember when we're multiplying fractions, multiply the numerators, then multiply the denominators. So 1 times 4 is equal to 4. 2 times 10 is equal to 20. So now we have 4/20ths, but this could definitely be simplified. We can actually divide both by 4. So 4 divided by 4 in the numerator, and then we also divide the denominator by 4. So 4 divided by 4 in the numerator is 1. 20 divided by 4 in the denominator is 5. So we have a final answer of 1/5. So 1/2 times 4/10 is equal to 1/5. So this is another main point. We're going to try something called cross-simplifying. I know that, it's nice and easy to multiply straight across when you're multiplying fractions, but if we do that, we have 3 times 7 is 21, 4 times 9 is 36, so then you'd have 21/36, and then you'd have to simplify down from there. But there's an easier way that you could do it. It's called cross-simplifying. So when you simplify, you can simplify the 3 and the 9, or you could simplify the 4 and the 7. So 4 and 7, 4 doesn't go into 7 evenly, so we're not going to simplify the 4 and the 7. But we can cross-simplify the 3 and the 9. So think of it like this. How many times does 3, or what could we divide? What's the greatest common factor that has 3 and 9? We could divide 3. If we divide it by 3, you get 1. And then if you divide the 9 by 3, you can get 3. So now when we multiply, we would multiply straight across. We would multiply the 1 times the 7 to equal 7. And then we would multiply the 4 times 3 to get 12. So 7/12 would be our final answer. This cross-simplifying is just one way to cut down on the simplifying at the end when you're multiplying the fractions. So I'm going to do the first one for you, and then you're going to pause the video on the second one. So if I have 2 1/3 times 2 5/7, So I haven't gone over how to multiply with mixed numbers, but I have taught you how to turn a mixed number into an improper fraction. So what we could do, we could turn this 2 1/3 into an improper fraction. So we'd multiply 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 1, which is 7. So we can rewrite this as 7/3 times, then we have 7 times 2, which is 14, 14 plus 5, which is 19, and then we would have 19 over 7. So we can cross simplify when we multiply. We could simplify the 7 and the 7. If we divide both of them by 7, seven divided by 7 is 1. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So when we multiply straight across, 1 times 19 is equal to 19. And 3 times 1 is equal to 3. So our answer, if we want to leave it in an improper fraction, would be 19/3. But if we want to write it in a mixed number, what we do, how many times does 3 go into 19? 3 goes into 19 6 times with one left over, because 3 times 6 is 18, and from 18 to 19 there's 1 left over. So our final answer would be 6 1/3. Because remember, if you want to just double check it, 3 times 6 is 18 plus 1 is 19. That's where the 19 is. So if we want a mixed number, we would have 6 1/3. If we want an improper fraction, we would have 19/3. So pause the video, try the next one. We have negative 19/12 times 2/3. What I want you to do, I want you to cross simplify. I want you to try it on this one. Alright, so if we have negative 9/12 times 2/3, one of the things that we could simplify, we could actually cross simplify it both ways. We could cross simplify the 2 and the 12, and we could also cross simplify the 9 and the 3. So let's work with the 2 and the 12 first. So if we divide both the 2 and the 12, the greatest common factor for those is 2. So if we divide both by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So if we want to cross simplify the 9 and the 3, the greatest common factor between the two, we can divide both by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now we have, in the numerator, we have 3 and 1. In the denominator, we have 6 and 1. So, but you have to remember, this is a negative. This is negative. So the negative can either go with the numerators, or the negative can either go with the denominators. I usually like to use the negatives with the numerators. So what is a negative 3 times 1? That is equal to a negative 3. What is 6 times 1? That's equal to 6. So negative 3/6 is not in the simplest form. We can divide both by 3. So 3 divided by 3, and 6 divided by 3. Negative 3 divided by 3 is equal to negative 1. And 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. So our final answer is negative 1/2. So negative 9/12 times 2/3 is equal to negative 1/2.